another little quick walk-in. We've already gone over into bonus cardio, but a little more streaming for all my people, a little more outreach with the last walk here. I mainly just wanted to get out, burn a few more calories, hold off a little longer on my food, and then get back in and get back to work on other stuff. Like all my clients are caught up right now, so now it's just social media posting, making some videos. I'll probably do one on eggs also. I have one coming up I'm going to put into the feed with definitely going more into fat-free mass index based on those charts I put up on Facebook and Instagram earlier, those pictures. I think really kind of highlights that point, because a lot of people are missing the big picture in terms of, how big guys can really get drug-free. And when we start talking in terms of body fat, people are really missing the boat. Because again, we have too many outliers. There's too much of this discussion of guys over 6 foot tall. That's an enormously small segment of the population. So this whole idea of lean 200-pound dudes not on gear is just ridiculous. Because realistically, like the fat-free mass index stuff I put up, 190 at 10% body fat for an average height guy is on steroids. We just have to look at the stats. 99% chance they're juicing. I mean, they could in theory be a statistical outlier, but not at 10% body fat. I mean, plug the fat-free mass index in, right? That would be rare genes. Not saying impossible, because you're talking very rare. So even then, I mean, we start talking a lean 10% body fat, 180 is really good, right? And I think that's what throws people off, is to go look at actual natural pro bodybuilders. I'm not saying they're all natural. Their stats for the ones who are routinely actually tested, in those federations, those guys are just not that big. And then you start looking at their heights and weights, it makes more sense. All right. Hey, big bro. Love your content. Always inspiring. The younger generation, keep the good work. Sending love from Singapore. Hey, man, I appreciate it, bro. Thank you. Hey, toss me a like on here, too. It always helps for the boost in the engagements. But thank you so much for those kind words, brother. And thank you for the support. But, yeah, and so that's what we mean. People have to have a context for that. And as far as guys thinking how big they need to be to look jacked to the average person, dude, 180 at 10% body fat to the average person, you might as well look like Arnold to the average Joe out there. So social media has distorted that. I mean, keep in mind, me walking around, I literally get stopped and get comments every time I go to the grocery store, right? Every time. It's just 2 or 3 times a week, because I go through and top back up on things. So, again, people need a context for this stuff, right? They need a context. So me walking around at over 200 pounds, and that's what I've been told. Again, people who know me are like, no, you're massive. You're absolutely monstrous. Even me, I'm saying, look, I'm going to cut down to the 190 or less, and I'm still going to be big by everyone's standards. So it's just kind of funny how these standards are skewed, People have these ideas, and it's not helpful to people out here trying to get results, because the average guy out there thinks they're going to do a little gear and get to a certain size. And I think the other problem guys on gear run into too is that intramuscular water. It's a big deal for a lot of dudes. They do a heavy blast, and then when they lose those gains, they're like, I lost the gains. No, you kept the muscle, you lost the transient storage factors. The trend is the worst about that too. That's why dudes are like, why do I can't keep the trend gains? Because it's not gains, right? You lost the intramuscular water, and then the way that it sucks water out from under your skin. So it's almost like 5 pounds of your water went from under your skin to inside your muscles or more, you know. So yeah, you're going to look different. But so there's all of that to think about. So I think people need to have a better context for that. And the same thing if we're going to promote general health and fitness. We caught a live. What's happened to Mr. Blaha? Not a lot, man. Just like your name says, me walking, dude. I've already done 4 hours of the list cardio today. It's kind of funny. Haters will be like, "Oh, it's not real cardio." I mean, it's list cardio. That's what we're doing. You know, but then when I go push the sled, no one wants to ever count that. But once I get leaner, I am going to work more of the serious, more intense stuff in. But right now, with the calorie deficit, the amount of lists I'm doing and the way I'm documenting all of it, I just don't have room for it. 4 hours of list. But I'm doing that all the time. Like, that's a normal. So it's either the brisk walking like this or it's the bike time. It was a mix of them today, right? But we're out taking another bonus walk before I eat because I'm trying to limit myself to about a 4 to 5 hour fasted eating window later. Another like for Coach. Appreciate it, Carol. But what's funny is, you know, all the people, they're in denial of those stats, but they're not realizing how big that stuff is, you know? And it's like, dudes are over here claiming they're natural and way bigger than that at whatever body fat. And I'm like, if you're claiming you're bigger than national level competitors, like, so you go take those fat-free mass index studies, they're not understanding those were not normal guys. Those were guys at national championship, natural pro card holders that they did those studies on, okay? And that's not even a guarantee they were natural. None of them were topping over about a 24.7 fat-free mass index. You call walking, yeah, it's list cardio. So, and so is the pedaling on the bike. And it's not super high intense, it's enough to get heart rate up and breath up. So eventually though, I'll work some of the higher intensity stuff in, but I need to get down to like 190 or so. I need to get leaner, keep the cut going, and I'll have the recovery with less of a deficit to deal with that. How you doing, TY? I may not keep a good connection on the stream, and FYI guys, it's showing one bar. It is that time of day where it cuts it out, but I've already done everything I needed to do. This is literally just a bonus walk to hopefully, you know, get a little bit of outreach. How we might get some supers or whatever. What are these crowns? TY, I'm getting tired of explaining it over and over, man. Go just check the messages. Cliff Notes. I got an email. I am one of the channels that has been selected for the beta test of the crowns. So they're a new feature. I've had them over a month. Like, love the data videos. Yeah, can we not explain the crowns? Let's just take the fitness stuff. You can go look it up. All right, you guys can go look it up. All right, okay. Yeah, that's all good. So right now you have the lead in the community in this particular live stream is what the number one means. Hey Scott, I'm glad you love the daily lives and it's letting me get something to do while I do all this cardio. But I can definitely tell the fatigue level sets in from all this, even though it's not crazy intense cardio, it is high enough activity that doing it all fasted, we start getting past the 3 hour mark. I can feel like this feeling in my chest and everything. It's not like a horrible, it is definitely, absolutely fatigue. We get those likes up, by the way. Yeah, it's 11:25. What's your average beat per minute? I have no idea. I have no clue what my average beat per minute is while doing it. But the whole point of it is just overall calorie burn without affecting lifting or recovery, which it hasn't. I mean, I'm still doing pretty strong. This fasted, I'm down 17 pounds, got at least 20 more to go. And, you know, it's allowing me to cut without loss of strength and without really impacting my performance significantly in the weight room. How lean are you trying to get? We're going to get super lean. The goal is to be under 10% body fat. So the current is to just get under 200 for health, and then we'll go from there. I'll probably go to 190. We might eventually need to do to like 185. You know, we'll see. But in the meantime, the main thing is, yes, I need to get really lean, deep abs. So that's how lean we need to get. I walk as well. It's good exercise for beginners, but I personally, it doesn't have to be intense. So list cardio shouldn't be intense. That's not the point. I think my squats are pretty intense. If I want intense, I can go push my sled. But that's the whole point of it is literally because we don't want intense. The whole point is be able to get a sustained higher calorie burn without affecting recovery. Intense cardio comes at a recovery price, right? I need to be able to train really hard in the weight room to retain muscle. There's no, so I think you're missing the point completely, and that's okay. The screen just went dark due to the heat. So let me see if I can find a shadier spot to walk for part of this. I don't know that we're gonna find any shade because I can't read your comments now, guys, until we do. So that's the only downside to walking outside this time. It's one reason I do more and more of the bike. Like this also becomes a problem. So here's your thing. You're like, it's not intense. Yes, you understand. That's the whole point. There we go. All right. How many steps do you do in a day? I don't know. If I only walk for an hour, it's only 8,000. If I do 4 hours of the walking, it's over 30,000. Depends on how much bike versus how much walking I do day to day. Was training in the UK more hardcore than the States? Why would it be more hardcore? I don't understand the question. Please ask it a different way. Keep in mind, you said the States. I wouldn't know. I haven't lived in the majority of the United States. Stop. Here's advice to the Brits and so on. So stop thinking of the US as one culture and one country, because from a European perspective, it's not. Think of America as the European Union. Think of that as the equivalent, and it'll frame stuff better, right? All right. Texas, the state I live in called Texas, is bigger than the UK, considerably bigger. So really should be training in Texas. Training in Texas is fairly hardcore. We're known for producing lots of football players, a lot of strength athletes. So we have a fairly hardcore training scene overall here for generations. Jason saves the intensity for his bedroom. So fatigue and intensity, a lot of things can contribute to fatigue, right? But the point is, if you're trying to do large amounts of calorie burn over time with cardio, you can't do high intensity. You can't. Plus, then you're also burning more carbohydrate. Right? So there's that, but then also high intensity cardio absolutely interferes with lifting. Okay? So there is that context as well. So right now, because I am cutting hard, hey Balding, your name really summarizes you quite well, because they're also not in a calorie deficit and they're not walking briskly. Oh man. All right. So again, the whole point of doing this is why it's a time-proven cutting method, for interfere with your training recovery to the same degree. Now, if I was doing more athletic stuff, which eventually I will, I'm going to take the channel back in that direction, I will be doing more higher intensity cardio and conditioning work. Right now in this phase, it doesn't work with what I'm doing. Make sense? So the entire idea is to use this to burn more and more fat calories. It works for all my business model. And then over time, once I get to the body fat I need to be closer to, I can scale a lot of this back and replace it with lower volumes of more intense work. All right, jumping, throwing, sled work, actual jogging, but even at this current body weight, I don't think jogging would be a wise idea. When I'm 190, sure, with appropriate shoes. Yeah, that's why I thought I see a lot of overweight young men and they walk. Well, it's not about beginners at all. No, you should be walking. So I don't care what your fitness goals are or how advanced you are, you need to be walking every day. At least at least a 20-minute walk, I think would be a wise idea for almost every human being on earth. So I think that you perhaps don't know what you're talking about, just saying. If we're going to talk overall fitness, even if you are a pretty serious athlete, you should still be doing some walking for overall health. It's not a beginner exercise, it's an everybody exercise. It is a basic human movement. Oh man, I'm getting tired of answering the steps today because I don't do all walking. I mix walking and bike. The amount of steps could vary. It could be as little as 8,000, and other days it's been over 30,000, but I don't track it. We're really just shooting for numbers of hours of list cardio, whether it's bike or walking. So I'm not tracking steps, but I've had days where I actually do get less than 10,000, but then I'm on the bike for a significant amount of time. The idea, though, is just the general lower intensity cardio for prolonged periods of time, right? It's endurance work. All right. I know cold water immersion is bad for gains, but how long after training do you not have to worry about interfering? You should not be taking ice baths at all. Why? Joe, why? There's no benefit either. So here's your point. You're asking, how long should I wait to do something silly and trendy that we know interferes with muscle growth for no benefit? Well, why are you doing it? The data doesn't really show the benefits people think it does. So I would say, right? I'm just saying it's a good place to start, but you don't want to get stuck. No, you need to be doing walking every day. No, actually, I'm done arguing with you. I'm just going to ignore you for now, honestly. In fact, you're me walking. You're just a troll. All right, get out of here. All right. We're getting rid of the nonsense. All right. So, clever trolls. All right. So let's get over to real people. Actually, I'm about to wind this down because I can't see the screen anyways in the sun. This is just an extra bonus walk. I've already done all mine for the day. I just wanted an extra little bonus. I study skipping carbs after training completely destroys recovery. Yeah. I mean, as someone who's messed with a lot of low carbohydrate diets and things, I can tell you carbs get too low, recovery and performance is going to suffer, and there's no way around it. Right? There's almost no way around it. So even if you're going to go the higher, you need enough carbohydrates to at least fuel your training, even if you go the higher fat, healthy fat route. For people who choose. Comparison. And a lot of times worse, but why do you have, oh man. All right guys. So I'm gonna walk a little further, then we're gonna shut this down for the day. Mainly because again, the sunlight's too bright to keep reading the screen, so I can't really read other than a few comments that needed to go. So Jason, how do I get dips to grow my triceps more and not keep growing these watermelon? You can't. So if you don't want your pecs to grow, then you got to quit adding the dips. I mean, it's that simple. Dips can obviously work both, and they will work both. But realistically speaking, it is going to be a chest and tricep exercise. So people will argue, well, just stay more upright, but not really, you know. Yes, you want the forward lean to get the most chest, but it's also taking it out, I don't think is necessarily good either. The best way to make sure that your triceps do keep growing on it, I mean, you're going to work triceps on it no matter what. Try to focus on locking a little harder at the top. But realistically speaking, you just can't. You're not going to take your pecs out of it. I like my pecs being big. They just have my chest more than how I perform now. Well, that's okay. Then add another tricep exercise. You know, if you feel like it's a little bit of an imbalance, then add something else for your triceps, something else for the long head potentially. A pullover type movement, some type of extension, a rope press down. You could do anything like that. All right? So add something else in. Right? But you can't do a great exercise compound that works two different muscles amazingly well and not expect it to work one of the two. Right? So, all right. So, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wind this down. This was just getting a little extra, a little bit of quick bonus walk. So I'm going to go ahead and wind it down. Love you guys, and I will talk to you next time.